This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Landmark College. With bachelor's and associate programs, bridge semesters, and summer programs for students who learn differently. Learn more at lcdistraction.org. Landmark College. Learn your way. Succeed uniquely. Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell with an episode of Distraction. Today, I'd like to talk about a topic that's been on all our minds lately, namely guns. It's been on our minds for a very, very long time, but it's been brought front and center because of the recent shooting in Parkland down in Florida, which is just another in the spate of school shootings that we've had in this country dating all the way back to Columbine in 1999. I remember being shocked and stunned by what happened in Columbine, and now it happens so often that we hardly take notice of it. But we took notice of it particularly at Parkland because of the response of the kids, the response of the young people. And there's more to what goes into these school shootings than the issue of gun control, but that is certainly one of the issues. And it's the issue that the young people seized upon. And it brought right to the forefront the tremendous idealism, the tremendous fervor that our young people have regarding their desire to see some laws changed to reduce the availability of assault weapons. I mean, who in the world needs machine guns to go hunting? You obviously don't. You don't go hunting with an Uzi. You don't go hunting with a machine gun. The availability of machine guns and the availability of any guns to people who are mentally ill or otherwise deranged. Reasonable precautions, anybody would think, except the zealots in the NRA who have extraordinary power. Well, what these students have galvanized is a national movement. And to me, it's really very inspiring. I was a student back in the 1960s when we were protesting a war that we thought was really unjust and wrong, the Vietnam War, where we were being asked to go sacrifice our lives in a cause that made absolutely no sense. And we were proven to be right. The thing just made no sense. And our friends, classmates died over there. And, you know, and God Almighty, I respect them so much for going. But I hated the government for sending them because there was just no reason. And we protested, and I remember very, very well marching. I was a freshman at Harvard when the police, the state troopers and the Cambridge police came into Harvard Yard when we were protesting. And it was a peaceful demonstration, except for some very radical people who invaded University Hall and took over in a way that they really shouldn't, and it hurt the cause. But anyway, the tradition of peaceful protest is a long and precious one in our country's history. And these young people down in Florida, in that proud tradition, exercised their right to peaceful demonstration and organized a national school walkout on March 14th, all around the country, where students walked out of school for 17 minutes, 1 minute for each person who died on that tragic day, gunned down by a young person who was clearly deranged, clearly should not have been in possession with a gun. And these young people just wouldn't let it go, and they inspired a whole nation and other young people around the country to exercise their right and with the support of their parents and very often their school teachers and administrators to walk out of school for 17 minutes. It's not like they were walking away from their education. It's not like they were saying, we refuse to attend school. It was a token absence from school, in no way damaging their education. But it was enough of a demonstration to be noticed and felt around the country. And I just think it's particularly poignant and heartening when it's school children, the young people, most of whom can't even vote, who are calling attention to the older people, saying it's time to stop in the name of some imagined constitutional right that dates back to when, there were militia and muskets and the fear that government would come and take away your weapons, which just isn't going to happen anymore. In order to protect people's rights to the point that people become really crazy in saying that we ought to allow crazy people to buy guns. You have to be crazy yourself to say we should let people who are mentally ill buy guns, and that we should make readily available assault weapons, Uzis, machine guns, to anyone who wants them to go, quote-unquote, hunting. It makes no sense whatsoever. And now we have young people, as I said, most of whom can't even vote, mobilizing a national demonstration where they walk out of school to call attention, saying, please stop this. We don't want to feel endangered. We don't want to go to school feeling afraid. We don't want guns all around us, particularly assault weapons. We don't want to be afraid that someone's going to drive by and pull a machine gun out of the car and spray fire at us as we're playing at recess. We want to have a ban on those. Why in the world should we not have a ban? And then they've also organized something called March for Our Lives, and that will be in Washington, D.C. on March 24th. The school walkouts were planned for March 14th and April 20th, which is the 19th anniversary of the Columbine shooting. And then the March for Our Lives in Washington, D.C. on March 24th. And again, the chance to go and stand up for something that I really think, unless you're a NRA, zealot, it should be pretty much a no-brainer that the data is so clear. Most of these guns are used in the commission of domestic crimes, that they're used in suicides, or they're used for a spouse to attack another spouse. Rarely are they used to fend off a burglar or an intruder. Most of the time, these privately owned weapons are used in cases of domestic violence, unless they're used in hunting, which is what they're meant to be used for. It's certainly fine to have a weapon if you take care of it properly and lock it up properly, but it's not fine if you have a history of mental illness and if you have a whole stockpile of assault weapons and hand grenades and other kind of explosives that nobody has any need for and only endangers not only the household but the community. Our young people are organizing and sending us a message that we really should heed, and we should join them in organizing. This is a cause that only the extreme edges of society would oppose. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being pushed around by extremists. I'm tired of the extreme holding sway. I'm tired of listening to extremists. It's time for moderation to hold the floor. It's time for moderation to take over. It's time for the moderate voice to stand where it should, which is in the center, and speak for the majority. And by definition, the majority is moderate. That's what moderate is. It's between the extremes. It is the extremes that would have you arm everyone with an assault weapon. It's the extremes that would have you protect the right of someone who's insane to carry a weapon, as that boy did to school when he murdered 17 people. I hope we will get inspired by these kids in Parkland. I hope you'll join in the next, or support your children in joining the next National School Walkout Day. I hope you consider going to Washington, D.C. On March 24th. I think it's a very important moment in our national history. Maybe finally, once and for all, we'll come to terms with this crucial issue that seems always to come up and then slip aside, seems always to come up and then get voted down as the NRA continues to intimidate all the politicians. Maybe it's time, as the children speak, for the adults to listen. This is Dr. Ned Hallowell, wishing you well for distraction. Please remember to reach out to us with your questions and ideas for future shows. Email us at connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's connect@distractionpodcast.com. Or leave us a message by calling 844-55-CONNECT. That's 844-55-CONNECT. And please, if you like what you're hearing, take a moment to leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews help us grow our audience, and we really like reading them. Please do leave those reviews. Distraction is produced by Collisions, the podcast division of CRN International. Collisions, podcasts for curious people. Our producer is the wonderful Sarah Gurton, and our sound engineer is the equally wonderful Pat Keogh. This episode was edited by the also wonderful Scott Person, and our music theme was created by the invisible and never seen Mark Berman.